Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the December 14th, 2022 meeting of the Lowell Conservation Commission. We're going to start our meeting with continued business. The first item is a request for determination of applicability presented by Andrew Goddard. The project location is 10 Tupee Lane, and this was to determine whether there's a resource area on the particular site.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for having me this evening. Scott Goddard, Goddard Consulting. So this is the final meeting on this. We're closing this hearing tonight as we promised we would at the last meeting, so thank you for allowing the additional continuation to close out the process with your peer review.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Had a meeting canceled in between. And
For sure. So I expect, we asked that the meeting would close this evening, or asking for a request for determination from the commission under the Wetland Protection Act only. There's no application before you under the Lowell bylaw. The findings. What's that? My expectation is based on the peer review letters is that the commission, if they were to go along with their peer reviews findings, BSC group, that they would issue a positive determination of applicability. And I disagree with that finding. I've stated that in the record publicly and in written format, but you know, at this point it lies with the commission to render their vote. I have nothing further to add into the record this evening.
Okay. We did have quite an extensive back and forth between your group and the peer reviewing group of BSC. We have a lot of paperwork here, which has been available on the city website for some time now. From what I know of the site, having seen it come through this board at least 3 times, I tend to favor the opinion of the peer reviewer. It was kind of an innovative way that you were hoping to settle the issue on the wetland determination. But I, for one, thought the peer report was a little more aligned with my knowledge of the site and my thoughts of what we have out there. We've had quite a lot of discussion back and forth, and the neighbors have been coming down here very faithfully to try to impress that they're concerned about the issue. We do have someone here from BSC Group. Did you want to add something to the reports that you've already submitted to us? What did you say?
She's available for questions.
So this is a request for determination, and we, I think, are prepared to determine.
Any other comments?
Did anyone from the board have questions or comments? The hearing is open and has been open for some time. We're not required to take any more input from the public, but if there were someone from the public that has something to add that we haven't heard before, I'd entertain that at this time. So at this point, I'm looking for a motion that would indicate that the request for determination is going to result in a positive determination that, and this would be positive number one, that the area described on the plans is subject to the act, and that any work of removing, filling, dredging, or altering the area is going to require a notice of intent, which I am of the opinion we should have been looking at all along, and that would have tied together all of these various documents that we've had to try to organize in some way. And this positive determination, I would suggest would need a 2B determination as well under the positive side of things, that the boundaries of the resource area are not confirmed. They were determined some years ago with another filing that we brought through the board, but that particular determination is now expired. And so the underneath that 2B, we would need to confirm that the determination of where this particular wetland boundary is has not been determined, that we do feel perhaps there is a resource there of a bordering vegetated wetland, and I have felt this all along because of the continuation of this same particular wetland across the road and down the hill and eventually connecting to the Clay Pit Brook and the Merrimack River. So it's a very well-defined drainage. It was required when the subdivision was first built, and I was on the board at that time, and we spent a lot of time looking at the drainage systems that were proposed so that these houses would not suffer from flooding. There are a lot of springs in this area that I've been aware of for a long, long time, and I believe there is a drainage that needs to have a path from this particular lot, if this is the beginning of it, which I probably is not. But the path should not be truncated by saying, well, you know, the drainage can continue across the street, but, you know, we don't need it on this side of the street. It's all one system that was engineered. It wasn't someone that just said, oh, I saw some water there, let's just skip this lot. These are contractors, developers that had they been able to, would have developed that lot years and years ago. So I believe that the delineation of it is the next step. How extensive is this wetland boundary, and what is left of the lot that perhaps is developable, keeping the setbacks in mind that we're very conscious of on this particular board. So basically, now that I've talked too long, I can't make any motions, but I'd like to see if someone on the board would like to make a motion to the effect of what I've been talking
I'd make a
about.
motion to result in a positive determination number one, which would require the filing of a notice of intent for any work on this site, and 2B, listing that the boundary of the resource areas are not defined under the current proposal.
We have a motion for a positive determination, citing numbers 1 and 2B on the form. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Perry. Further discussion from the board?
In total agreement with how you summarized?
Ready for a vote? Let's have a voice vote All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Aye.
And I will vote in favor as well. So it passes unanimously, and your next step, I would think, to be seeing you back here with a notice of intent, perhaps.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Thank you, Mr. Goddard. So we can have a vote to close the public, it's not actually a public hearing.
All good?
So,
I think we're set on that one.
yes, we're all set. Did you get what you need, Fran, for the form? Okay. So that particular item is closed out for now. The notice, the request for determination resulted in a positive finding that the more information would need to be submitted in order for us to determine if this particular site can be developed in any way. So,
If an NOI, a notice of intent, is submitted by this applicant, it would come within a butter's notice. So you would all be notified by registered mail and include into the fact that this was submitted to our offices. Yeah.
I'd like to thank, with the representative of BSC Group here, I'd like to thank them a great deal, and I'm sure the neighbors are aware of the part that they played in trying to make sure this site is dealt with in a very careful way. And I appreciate the work that they put into that, and I tend to agree with their finding, as I said. So I think we're pleased at this point, and just keep your ears and mailbox open to any further developments as far as the neighbors go. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you. Moving on with our agenda, we have a notice of intent that we have, I believe the hearing was opened at our last meeting. We did not have a DEP number. The location is 105 Martin Street. The DEP number is 206-0818, and the proponent is Bill Reno. And this is a proposal to construct a new single-family home within the 100-year floodplain, or partially within the 100-year floodplain. Good evening.
Good evening. Good to see you again. My name is Paul Campbell. Chess Engineering. I'm the land surveyor and engineer of record for this project, here representing the applicant, Bill Renault. And just to recap quickly where we left off, this is a single-family home being proposed on Martin Street. The lot in question is within the 100-year flood zone of the Beaver Brook. And we're proposing a single-family home. And for the area, volume of water that is being displaced by the flood, by the house in the flood zone, we're compensating for it elsewhere on the site. So just a quick recap of what the site is. It's an undeveloped lot owned by the neighboring parcel, and it's used as a yard. It gently slopes away from Martin Street towards the VFW highway. The 100-year flood zone was delineated by FEMA to be at elevation 69.1 feet. We provided a topographic survey of the property, identified the elevation 69.1 on the plan, which is shown here in the dark black dashed line. The single-family home is being built within the flood zone, but everything about the building is above the flood elevation. So the only thing taking up any anything displacing flood water is the foundation of the building itself. So we've provided calculations to show how much is being displaced by the flood and where we're going to compensate for it on site. So I believe last we left off, we were waiting on any comments from DEP, and I checked with the city, and it didn't seem like they had any comments. So I'm here for any questions or any issues you might have with the project.
I believe you had a very minimal amount of compensation that was needed for the way you've drawn the plan, and that won't require any materials to be brought into the site. Is that correct?
Correct. It's a very de minimis number. It's about 5 gallons of water being pushed around on site.
Where will the drainage from this site go? What direction will it go?
So it'll match existing conditions where everything kind of gently slopes back towards the VFW highway. The project itself is exempt from any stormwater management requirements, both at the state level. Mass Stormwater Handbook standards don't apply to construction of single-family homes. And then at the local level, at the city of Lowell, Lowell water, wastewater utility, regional utility, they're in charge of managing the stormwater, and speaking with them, this isn't a project that triggers their requirements for stormwater because Martin Street has a separate storm system from their sewer system. So areas downtown where it's combined system, they require some stormwater management, but this for a single-family project in an area with no combined sewer is exempt from there.
So runoff from the roof and everything will also go to the rear of the property?
Yes.
Sheet flow?
Yeah, it'll just be gutters, sheet flow back to the property, just like it is now. We could look at rain barrels or anything like that, but there's just no requirement to like retain or any stormwater. But I don't think my client would be opposed to rain barrels or anything modest that you would see on a single-family home.
Questions from the board? We did discuss this at a little more length at our last meeting.
Do we need a public hearing for an abbreviated NOI?
I think any NOI needs a public hearing.
I don't know the answer to that.
Fran, this would be, we'd have to open and close a public hearing for this, right?
Did we open it last time? However,
Yeah,
that was
that was
my
the question.
feeling that we had already opened it.
Do we know?
No problem, we can open it
Yeah,
again if we...
can open and close it again.
It was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Let's just have a motion to open the public hearing. And,
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
okay, and
Second.
we'll take the testimony that we just heard and insert it right into that open public meeting. We can hear comments or questions from the public, if there are any. Okay. So what is our pleasure on this? It's a pretty straightforward plan here. There is wet area in the rear of the property, but I don't think it's so soggy that it couldn't take several more gallons of water after this construction is completed.
No, and I do think that the compensation is shown well and compensated, and, the area being displaced is compensated for well, so I think it's a pretty good project.
Okay. And it is a little bit lower from the existing house, I believe, so that this construction doesn't look like it's going to push any water onto the other property.
No, it's really flat out there.
Yeah.
It looks big on a plan, but when you get out there, it's a very flat pancake. And I will say too, there's no wetlands or anything. This is strictly a 100-year flood zone.
Close the public
Okay,
hearing.
so motion to close the public hearing,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
seconded by Brad. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the hearing is closed. You need to consider an order.
So I think a standard order of conditions will be fine. So I'll make a motion to approve this project with a standard City of Lowell order of conditions.
Motion to issue a standard order of conditions. Seconded by Brad. Further discussion? Any special conditions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I as well. Opposed? None. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have a notice of intent. Applicant is Jeremy McSorley. The address is 123 Bolt Street. And this is a proposal to construct a new contractor's garage, relocate a salt storage building, and make improvements to the access drive and the parking area. This particular site is within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetland and the 100-year floodplain. Did we get a DEP file number yet? No, I have not. No?
I sent the check in that they had asked for some weeks ago. And,
Yeah.
I received it.
Yeah.
I have not received that.
Well, it's probably a good thing. We're a little bit at a disadvantage because I don't know how many of us actually saw this plan before tonight.
Yeah. I believe the calculation
But you can tell us about it, and then
Sure.
we'll have to keep the meeting open, the hearing open.
okay.
So we'll open the public hearing.
So moved.
So the record, my name is Matt Hammer with Lamplex Engineering, 10 George Street, Lowell, Mass. We're here this evening for a notice of intent filing for the property located at 123 Bolt Street, which is currently owned and occupied by the Greener Group. The Greener Group has an existing business here. They have offices within the building, parking area to service the building, and what they want to do is they want to improve this section of the property that was currently just being housed for the storage of materials and things related to their business. And that's all going to end now because what they're proposing is to add a garage here, which is located here. And also, from the survey, there's a salt storage building that they had, which is located right here. And essentially what that is, it's a series of concrete blocks that retain material that's contained within the actual blocks themselves in order to store salt and sand. They're going to move that away from this area here, and they're going to move that over to here, further away from the wetland area. The building itself is going to be, well, first of all, the wetlands were delineated by Norse Environmental, which are shown here, wetland flagging WF 1A through 11A. We also have a bordering land subject to flooding FEMA line, which is located here. Excuse me. And the work that's proposed will not be in that bordering land subject to flooding area. And the closest point to this wetland will be 41 feet from the back of the building here. The building itself will be, will have a floor drain in the building, and then there'll be a grease trap to take that floor drain, which is located here, which will continue into the existing sewer system. There'll be, in terms of stormwater, the stormwater will be facilitated through the roof drainage from the garage will go into the existing storm water system they have on site. And there'll be an additional catch basin system that'll be located here to pick up this runoff that would come in this area here of the property, and that'll also go into that existing stormwater system. The 100-foot buffer is located here. And there's also an existing drainage system that's located here that'll remain. So essentially the site is utilizing an area that's already disturbed, proposing these two, this permanent building and then this storage building. There'll be an erosion and sedimentation control barrier that's going to be located here. And then this, whatever's disturbed on the other side of that will be revegetated. And I can take any questions from the commission that you may have.
So the parking area is existing, is that correct?
Yeah, this is all existing, yes.
Yeah.
So the only proposed portion of this project is the building here. And then to move this salt storage building back and relocate it here. There's an existing paved area throughout here within the site. And all the debris that's in here in the way of construction materials will be taken out of there, obviously, and displaced with the proposed building. I have a, I don't know if you want to see what the building's going to look like.
Thank you. You can share. Get your own. Is this already an impervious area where the building's going?
It is. It's all a combination of pavement and compacted gravel.
I'm having trouble seeing that exact limit on this plan. It's really crowded in that area tightest to the wetland.
Between the
The
pavement and
proposed building and the wetland flag gate, I suppose.
in here?
Yeah, that corner up above your finger, it's hard to tell where the existing, edge of pavement is.
Sure, I can maybe better clarify that. The actual pavement edge is here,
Okay,
and then it goes down here, all the way over here.
oh, I see it. I see it labeled edge of pavement.
Yeah, so we're going to take that pavement and remove that and vegetate that.
It's fairly
Section.
irregular to see a building being proposed inside of the 50.
Okay?
What's your rationale for that?
So what we have here, we have an existing entrance here. There's also a defined parking area established with islands here. And the big factor is this, there's two above-ground storage tanks and a fueling depot for their vehicles, which is located here. And we're trying to make sure that we don't impede that area to get the vehicles through here and also be able to service the building.
That's it's gonna take a little bit of time for me to even consider being comfortable with something like that.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
Go ahead, all good.
So that leader in the proposed building is going, so that's impervious, or pervious, I guess.
Yeah, pervious, compacted
So-
gravel.
So your proposed new building, then, the roof of that, is gonna have roof drains going to an existing infiltration system.
Yep.
Have you checked to see if the infiltration system is sized? Because that's gonna be picking up
Yeah, so that,
additional capacity.
yeah, we believe that it's going to be sized appropriately for that. I can get back to you on that, but this entire area was classified as a CN value of 98, which would have contributed to this system. And that's what we're proposing here, is the same CN value for that. And we feel as though the reduction of pavement as well is going to offset the storage capacity for this system here.
Who classified that as a 98?
Who does?
Yeah,
It's in what they call TR 55 manual.
okay,
So anything is a gravel is considered a 98, and it's also considered a 98 for anything impervious.
sure. Okay. I wasn't expecting it to be that high. But
Yeah, so anything,
that's fine, I believe.
anything impervious, gravel to roof area is considered a CN value of 98. And it's not based on the condition of being poor, fair, or good because of that condition.
I myself am going to need some more time to look this over before, we do have to hold this hearing open.
Okay,
Till we get the DEP number.
okay,
I'm going to need to look that over. We're pretty strict on this board about setbacks from wetlands. And you have a large parking area there that it seems if you flipped things, we could perhaps have a little less intensive structure close to the wetland. I'm thinking something like, pervious pavement and things like that.
Oh, to offset, add some pervious pavement in here to help with offset that dimensional request?
Like I say, this plan is new to me tonight. We did
Mhm.
not get this in a timely fashion.
Okay,
And I haven't had a chance to look at this carefully.
yeah, we can most certainly consider that, incorporating some additional stormwater controls to help benefit the project's close proximity to the wetland.
I don't know that I want to trade off additional infiltration just for dimensional offset. I think that it would be helpful if you come to the next meeting when we are, once we have the DEP number with some thoughts. But this is closer to the wetland than we typically allow. Considerably, so, I'd really like to start with options about keeping it at least 50 feet from the wetland.
Okay, take a look at that.
And that's been our policy ever since I've been on the board, which is a few years now, is we don't let anything in between, inside that 50-foot buffer. So the 41 feet, I mean, that's an issue for me as well, so.
Okay.
Any more thoughts tonight from the board?
I see another set of wetland flags at the bottom of the page.
Down here?
Yeah, but do these two areas connect? What's going on down at the bottom right corner of the property?
Yeah, they're hydraulically connected around.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wetland buffer lines, and it looks like they were never like connected. The wetland buffer for the B flags goes all the way through to the bottom right corner between the existing 12-inch HDPE and SC manhole. And then the line A, 100-foot wetland buffer, just kind of ends somewhere around the bottom left corner of the relocated
Yeah,
building.
we can improve that on the plan as well.
Yeah, I'd like to just be able to see that
Sure.
clearly and make sure that we're, able to see where the limits of disturbance are to the total area of wetland.
Okay.
Thanks. I mean, as far as the water and sewer, all seems reasonable. I don't think there's any issue there. Really, building placement, would we expect grading as part of this plan package ever? A
Grading?
plan?
Well, the grading is on the plan. It's just maybe hard to see.
Oh, I thought that was existing.
There's some proposed spot shots here to show that this area will contribute to this catch basin.
Okay, I missed those, good.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this proposal? You will get a chance next week, if not tonight. Next month, actually, next month. We do not have a fourth Wednesday meeting this month because of the holidays.
I'm curious about the constructability of 5 feet from the top right corner of the building to the wetland buffer. It doesn't seem like enough room to work.
Well, this is, this will just be a frost wall construction, needing to just go down 5 feet below grade.
Sure.
The slab elevation's at 55, and the existing grade back here is at 54. So we think that is achievable.
So you're down 4 feet, and you gotta go out 1.5 feet for the footing, plus
Yeah.
another foot to work at least.
Yep.
And then, so you're right on the corner.
Yep.
Okay,
We can do it.
all right. You can't fit even a person at the top of the hill, though.
As long as they're inside the hole and able to get that frost wall in is what's gonna all that's gonna be required in order to get that frost wall in. So we
Okay.
feel as though that the constructability of that is achievable with the way this is designed.
There's no further questions. We'll entertain a request for you to continue this
Continue,
hearing.
yep, to the January meeting.
You make a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue this to the January 11th meeting.
I'll second.
Seconded by Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Hearing is continued. Thank you, Mr. Hammer. Next, we have a notice of intent sent by John Pratt, 29 Ottawa Street, EP file number 2060819. This is a proposal for a new single-family home within the 100-foot buffer zone of a wetland, which is Beaver Brook, I believe. Oh, you're here for this one as well. That was convenient.
I figured it was your details page for the other project.
Again, for the record, my name is Matt Hammer with Lamplex Engineering. We're located at 10 George Street, Lowell, Mass. I'm here this evening for a notice of intent filing for a single-family dwelling on this lot here, which is currently owned by John Pratt, who is the owner and the applicant. John and his wife is here this evening as well. So we have a very defined wetland at the edge of the Beaver Brook, which is showed here, which was delineated by Norse Environmental. This is a little bit unique in the way that there's a wall here that separates this area from the Beaver Brook. There's a series of easements that we've been contending with the city. There's a sewer easement here that runs along the brook. There's this 7-foot-high concrete levee wall, which is here. And there's an additional sewer easement that runs through the property, which is shown here. There's a series of sewer pipes that come down to connect to these easements. And it was quite a project to put these various sewer lines throughout this area. We're separated by all of this infrastructure here with this proposed single-family dwelling. It's a proposed building here with a garage coming off of Ottawa. A portion of the building is within the 100-foot buffer. The closest point to the building, to the wetlands, is 86 feet. We've had discussions with the stormwater team on this project. We're proposing some mitigation to meet the 1-inch volume that has been used as a criteria for these single-family dwellings to meet. That calculation is here in the volume in order to accept that 1-inch impervious is contained within this subsurface infiltration, which is these chambers right here out in front of the property. Originally, it was located behind the property, behind the dwelling, and we felt as though it would be better to put it out in front over in this area here. There's going to be proposed sewer and water connections to the utilities out in the street. There's going to be an extension of a water line, because the water line ends here. So there'll be an extension of that water line here. And then there'll be a hydrant that'll be proposed as well. In order to mitigate any potential runoff from the site, we're proposing to put in a straw wattle erosion control system here. And I can take any questions from the commission.
You had said you moved the infiltration system from the back of the house to the front of the house?
That's correct.
So the front of the house is the left side,
It's this side. This is the front to Ottawa Street,
but the subsurface is shown on the left?
in the front.
Oh, okay.
Here.
I'm looking at the plan up on the, okay.
That might have been when we
Updated site
switched
plan.
it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep, I see it now.
Okay.
So there they are up here. Tell me the reason
what-
for that one more time. I was a little hung up on the language.
Originally, we had those chambers back here. We felt as though it would be better here. If for some reason they surcharge in any way, they can go to an existing catch basin that's located here. One of the additional controls that we're going to be incorporating is to put a silt sack around that catch basin during construction, just to help with any potential runoff that could end up going out into the street, and that this catch basin wouldn't be impacted by any potential runoff from the site, with sedimentation being carried with that stormwater.
I saw a comment from engineering that asked to connect the sewer to the pipe instead of the manhole.
Yeah, we'll accommodate any comments that come through from the sewer department or the engineering department, for the construction of the house.
How long has that wall been there?
That's a good question. Depends on what fashion it was in. There are a set of plans that I believe that, don't quote me on when it went in. I don't know exactly, but it was approximately 10 or 15 years ago, I believe, that wall went in. It was part of a big project that went in to protect these neighborhoods.
Yeah, that was a result of the Mother's Day flood
They need one on
Correct.
the other side.
instead of their lump.
Yeah, the lump. I'm comfortable with the fact that that wall is there, but otherwise I certainly wouldn't propose putting a house right here. But, you know, that pretty much solved the problem for the people on this side of the brook, as far as I can tell. There's no change in elevation, no bringing in fill,
No,
nothing.
it's a very flat site. We're not proposing any grading changes in there at all.
I have no problems.
Steve, anything? Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment or ask a question about this particular project on Ottawa Street? Okay, if there's no further questions, I think we could close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Seconded by Brad. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. And now this is a notice of intent, so we need to consider an order of conditions.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this NOI with standard City of Lowell order of conditions.
Motion made for standard order,
I'll second it.
seconded by Perry. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank
Thank you. Have a nice holiday, everyone.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Matt.
you as well. Good night. Next, we have a request for a certificate of compliance. The project DEP file number 2060749, project location 902 Varnum Avenue. I believe this has also got an address of 914 Varnum Avenue for some reason. And this was a rebuild, a house burned down 5 or 8 years ago, and was rebuilt as a sort of a, what do they call those homes?
Modular.
A modular, it's a modular, that's right. Is there anyone here for 902 Barnum Avenue? Okay, I know I'm the only one that was on the board at that time, I believe it was 2015. The only issue at the time was that we didn't want any fill below a certain contour on the plan. And they stuck with that. They needed a little fill to place the home. It was a modular home. They needed a little fill up close to the street. But very little change to the actual land. It is a property that backs up into a wetland area or a floodplain, I'm not sure which. So I think this request is in order and could be made without, without any further questioning of anyone about it.
Make a motion to grant.
Motion to grant the certificate,
Seconded.
seconded by Perry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes and the certificate's granted. Next, a request for a certificate of compliance. Benjamin and Jennifer Rivera, 172 18th Street. The two DEP file numbers here. I'm not quite remembering why. I guess there were two different projects proposed. 206542 and 206795. This was a fairly new home, built about, I don't know, 10 years ago. Is there anyone here for 172 18th Street? Are they online at all? Okay. I did have a couple of questions, if there was going to be somebody representing this particular one. And the question is only because I did not get out there this time. The order of conditions did require that a property line be marked that was a setback from the wetland, be marked with granite markers. And my recollection of the last time I was at the property is that for some reason the central marker had been removed, but I can't confirm that tonight. We were concerned about rocks that were moved around. We were concerned about, there were quite a few potholes, I think, left over, or equipment tracks left over from when they did move rocks around, and there was a question of filling those, and we said no, absolutely not. So those are a couple of things that I wanted to ask the proponent about before granting this certificate.
What do you think about continuing to the next?
Yeah, I would think this would need to be continued. So
Motion to
that-
continue.
Yeah, motion continues and seconded by
I'll second.
my friends here on either side.
To January 15th? January 11th, thank you.
January 11th, okay, continued to January 11th. Not that this is a problem, but I need a little more information. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion passes, so this will show on our next meeting agenda as well. Next, we have a request for determination of applicability. Lipoli Companies, project location 171 Jackson Street. This is a proposal for underground electrical distribution boxes within 100 feet of the Hamilton Canal. Is there anyone here for this particular proposal?
Yep. Can you guys hear me? I'm
We
online.
can,
Yes.
yes.
Great. Yeah, my name is Chris Raymond from TEC, here on behalf of the applicant. We're here seeking a determination of applicability for a transformer that is to be located and to help support the new garage project right there. As you know, the garage is substantially constructed. During the final design process, it was determined the most logical location for a transformer to support the garage was going to have to be across the street on the corner of Jackson and Canal Street. So working with the city and city council, we procured all the necessary easements to get this, to locate the equipment there. And then during that process, it was brought up that we should probably come before you guys and file an RDA for the transformer located here. And because it is within 100 feet of the canal, So with that, I guess I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Have you done a test pit in the area where you're proposing to dig?
No test pits, but it's located next to, there's a series of electrical equipment located in this area already. So, yeah, just to consolidate kind of the electrical equipment there, this was determined to be the most logical location when working with National Grid. Remembers this.
Is this something that has to be kept dry?
Nope, it's an outdoor structure, just like a green, those green boxes that you can see on the side of the road. It's just a transformer that helps, support the electric needs of the garage. Since there's we can't do above ground utilities in the area.
I'd imagine that this is intended to go in this year.
Correct. Yep. As soon as possible.
Are there any hazardous substances that are a result of this equipment?
Nope. Nope, just a standard transformer and transformer pattern.
The transformers are much cleaner now than they used to be.
Are they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that as much anymore. I mean, I have no issue with this. I mean, it's our,
No, they have all the silt.
turn it into commercial highway over there.
Yeah, they have all the silt, barriers in place on the plan at least. So if those go in, then I'm okay. I think so. They're all in the plan and looks good. So.
So there was some erosion of in respect to the garage excavation. Has that been taken care of?
I'm unfamiliar. Maybe that might have been worked out with the contractor. Do you know where that was? Just so I can get you an answer on that.
Well,
I believe so.
well, my next question was, had the catch basins and things like that already been fitted with silt sacks or not? In regard to the digging that's already been going on there, because I saw in the comments that either engineering or our department put out that that you had proposed putting more silt sacks on the catch basins.
Yeah, I think the silt sacks that we're proposing for this project, it's a little bit further down the street from the garage, so we're just gonna incorporate those into them as well. There were existing catch basins around the garage site that had silt sacks in them, and then as part of just to install this transformer, we were just gonna add a couple more.
So what's the duration of this construction?
Very, very short time frame. Just the pad prep is really all it's going to take, maybe a week, and then National Grid will come in, just pull their wires, do everything above ground, pull their wires, and set the transformer. So we'll just have to coordinate the final installation of the transformer with them, hopefully in the next month or two. But the pad prep and conduit installation should only take a few days to a week.
It takes longer to get National Grid to come inspect it than it does to do the work.
They'll bring in
Exactly.
that transformer in one piece, pretty much all built, so it'll go in quick once they get it on the site. So.
Exactly.
Out of curiosity, do you already have the transformer? Is it in stock?
I believe it would. I believe it's been ordered. I don't know its exact status, but I know that we have been coordinating, not myself personally, but
Currently, they're about
another
a year out.
yeah. So I know it was ordered, and
I'm just,
I'm not sure exactly where it's at, but I know that they're planning to install it, I believe, by February. So fingers crossed.
I'm good if
Okay.
you are.
The construction guys are all set.
Yeah.
Let's see. This was a request for determination. We don't seem to have a lot of concern on the board here about this particular, so it's possible, is this a -3, or?
the reality is there's a series of other transformers further down Jackson Street, basically in that
Yeah.
similar
Yeah.
kind of strip, same distance away from the canal. That seems to be a popular place to install them.
So we have a motion?
Make a motion to grant this project a -3 determination.
And do we have any special conditions to add?
I think the drawings.
I think it's
What's that?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, so this is a -3, meaning it's within our jurisdiction, but it's not going to harm the resource or have a lasting impact on the resource. Thank you for explaining the project to us.
Of course, and thank you very much for your time. Have a great night,
You're
everybody.
welcome. Have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Okay, other business, or is there any other business besides the schedule, Fran? No? Sir, did you have anything, any concerns for the board? The other business then is the 2023 schedule. It seems like we just approved a schedule. I don't know where the time goes. Did you send that out, or? I don't remember seeing a schedule.
Probably the same as last year, the 2 months in the summer, one meeting, and then November, December, one meeting. Yeah, I think so.
Did you see it?
I think it's the same as last year, where July and August is one meeting, and then November and December is one meeting, the same as usual.
We've been meeting so infrequently, it's hard to remember from one time to the next. Is there any concern about the schedule? It's the same as last year?
No, I don't think so. I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 schedule.
Second.
23, is that what you said?
Yeah, 2023.
Seconded by Brad. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's the end of our agenda, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Made by
Second.
Brad, seconded by Perry. All those in favor? Thank you, and good night.
Good night,
Don't you
everyone.
look nice with a poinsettia right next to
That's why I sat here.
Good
Matches my
night.
blush.